Assemble! Stay dandy, baby. Beastars is a fantastic anime series which is essentially an adult take on Disney's Zootopia. That is, if Zootopia was all about murder, drama club, and sexual frustration. Do you guys ever watch an anime series that just sort of leaves you breathless? An anime series that when you're done watching it, you just cannot help but want to talk about it? That's the feeling that I got when I watched all 12 episodes of Beastars in 2 days. You see, just to go ahead and date this video because it's topical, we're in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic, COVID-19, which means a lot of us have been quarantined and we've had to stay home. And during a period of this time, I actually had to stay home and I was watching a lot of different anime on Netflix because that's basically what I had available to me, and that's when I discovered Beastars. Now, Beastars is an anime series that did make some waves over the course of the last couple of months because it technically already had its airing in Japan, and a lot of people have actually already watched the series. Me, I sort of just ignored the entire Beastars craze. I've never really been one for, dare I call it, furry anime, and this series is anything but. That's when I decided that I was just gonna go ahead and give the series a chance, and I found myself getting incredibly entertained by its incredibly awkward but enduring story. You see, Beastars is a series about anthropomorphic animals, but it might be one of the most human anime that I've ever seen. After watching the entire show, I did a little bit of research on Beastars and learned that it's actually based on a manga series which is written and illustrated by Paru Itagaki. I don't know who the hell that is, but this is YouTube and people love fun facts. That being said, I haven't really looked at the manga version, and I'm probably not going to look at it, because the first season of Beastars engrossed me so much that I cannot wait to see its inevitable second season, which was teased in the very last episode of this season right here. And like I said, even though the entire series is wrapped in the trappings and visuals of being a furry anime, it has a surprisingly human story to tell, and believe it or not, it's about a giant introverted wolf who goes by the name of Legoshi. Legoshi might be one of the most interesting main characters that I've seen from just about any anime series that I've ever watched. And like a lot of the other characters in the series, I judged him upon first glance. He's a tall, scary, intimidating looking wolf, while on the inside, he's incredibly timid and extremely introverted, barely being able to communicate or talk with anyone, and when it comes to talking with a member of the opposite sex, well, that's practically out of the question for the wolf boy. And ultimately, that's what this entire series is all about Legoshi getting over his social hang-ups, of learning who he truly is, and fighting on who he is on the inside. Is he a dangerous killer wolf, or is he just someone who's looking for love? But let's get to the brass tacks. What is Beastars all about? Well, believe it or not, when I actually saw this series for the first time, I actually thought that it was going to be some sort of weird crime noir kind of story due to the way that the characters actually dressed and the supposed time period that it actually takes place in. Believe it or not, it's actually a story about a bunch of young kids going to a snobby boarding school and having to deal with the backlash of a murder which takes place in the first episode of the series. The show actually opens up by establishing that this is a world with anthropomorphic animal people, and they're divided into two social classes. There's the herbivores and the carnivores. And the carnivores are the ones who are basically ostracized from the rest of society, as they are forced to actually have to take control of their animal-like instincts to keep themselves from actually killing people. And the actual show opens up with one of Legoshi's fellow students being cannibalized by one of his other friends. Now, I thought that this was going to be sort of like the basis for the entire series, a whodunit story of figuring out who killed this student. This actually ends up taking a backseat for the entire duration of the first season, and mainly it focuses on Legoshi as a character and seeing as how he grows and how he falls in love with another one of his fellow students, a young cute little bunny girl who goes by the name of Haru. Next to Legoshi, Haru is the second main character of the series, and she's very different than Legoshi. She's a lot more outgoing, and like her actual brethren of rabbits, she likes to get down. Just like Legoshi, Haru is looked down by her fellow students because she's seen as what is known as a stereotypical slut. She loves to have sex. That's just kind of her thing, which at first might seem like kind of a negative character trait, especially the way that society looks at it. If a male gets a lot of tail, everybody gives him a high five. If a female gets down, well, she's just a dirty whore. But it's as the series goes on that you get to learn that Haru actually has this character trait because of the way that she's actually viewed by the world around her. She's this tiny little dwarf rabbit that everyone sees as this insignificant thing which must be protected at all times. She's not actually seen as a person, but simply as just some sort of object. It's when she actually has sex with people that she actually feels that she's treated like a real, breathing, living thing. Like an adult, like someone with a heart and a soul. And that's what causes her to sort of sleep around, so to speak. When she meets Legoshi, however, that's when she meets this giant sexual wall which must be tackled, and hilariously enough, Legoshi himself has a big problem when it comes to talking with the females. That and the fact that in the first episode of the series, Legoshi almost quite literally devours Haru, which ends up being one of the biggest parts of the entire series. Haru has no idea that she was almost eaten alive by Legoshi, who decides to suppress his animalistic instincts, and throughout the course of the series, he is desperately trying to tell her the truth while also single-handedly falling in love with her and trying to decide, do I really love this girl, or do I just want to eat her? Watching this relationship blossom throughout the entirety of the first season of the anime is honestly the best thing about it. I don't know, I've seen a lot of stories about two people falling in love, but never one quite this awkward and overly violent. But of course, if there's one word that perfectly describes Beastars, it's drama. And that just so happens to work perfectly because most of the series revolves around the fact that Legoshi is a part of his drama club of his school, the Cherryton School. And this drama club is just worshipped by the student body. Apparently, they're just really amazing. They bring in all of these great actors who perform these amazing performances for people that everybody just loves, and they idolize them. And the big star is this red deer who goes by the name of Louis, who sort of acts as sort of like the rival slash antagonist to Legoshi throughout the entire series. And Louis, in many ways, is sort of like the antithesis and the perfect rival for Legoshi because of the way that he actually views the whole carnivore-herbivore world. You see, Louis is living up to everything that he is, this amazing deer who's using everything that he has to make waves in the world, whereas he looks at Legoshi as a character who has all of these amazing abilities that he simply has not tapped into and simply has to suppress because otherwise, if he did, he would end up eating half of his classmates. It's this interesting dynamic that ties in the fact that these carnivores are sort of like a metaphor in a way for toxic masculinity. It's just one of the many themes that are incredibly prevalent throughout all of Beastars, which makes it one of the most dynamic and awesome looking shows. And did I say awesome looking? Yes, that's because this is a great looking series, which at first kind of scared me because it utilizes this sort of pseudo 3D CG style that's covered with some cell shading, and honestly, it kind of works for a show like this. I always felt that CG works a lot better for non-human looking characters when it's like an anthropomorphic looking animal or a creature or a monster. Somehow those traits just apply a lot better to characters like that. And while a lot of the characters in Beastars are themselves very human looking in terms of the way that they move, they're anything but. They really do play with the fact that they are animals, and they don't forget that fact at all. As for the rest of the series, what's it all about? Well, the actual name of the series, Beastars, does have a meaning. Apparently, the term Beastar refers to someone within this society who is looked at as a great individual, someone to look up to who can actually have a lot of pull in society and can also sort of like represent the side in which they represent, herbivore or carnivore. And you get to see that with Louis desperately trying to be the next Beastar and everybody sort of competing with him within the drama club, and even reluctantly Legoshi as well, who simply just wants to be left alone to deal with his very own issues, of which there are many. Throughout most of the series, like I said, most of it follows Legoshi's goal of trying to control his animal instincts and trying to decide if he loves Haru or not, as well as competing with Louis for her love. Not to mention, the entire series ends randomly with the existence of a mafia group and the existence of a black market where they actually sell animal meat. Everything just sort of goes insane at the very end of the anime, and I can only recommend that you check it out yourself. I don't want to give away some of the bigger details, like how the actual series ends. Will Legoshi and Haru end up together? Is this just the beginning of their relationship? And the thing is, it is just the beginning. We're gonna have to see what's gonna happen next in the second season of the show. And interestingly enough, like I said, they don't even get to the whole murder mystery part of the story. It looks like they're gonna be saving that for the next season. I ended up getting really sucked into it overall. It's funny, it's dark, and frankly, it's kind of fucked up. but it's all tied together with amazing characters and great production value. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the amazing intro sequence, which is actually a stop-motion sequence of watching Legoshi and Haru dance together, and it's sort of like a great sort of yin and yang of what the entire series is all about, showing us the darkest aspects of the series of what happens when a character loses themselves, and also showing what happens when they can actually give in to their overall happiness. That's really the best way to describe it. Beastars. It's a great anime series, and I highly recommend that you guys decide to check it out. Maybe even check out the manga version. For me, I'm going to continue to watch the anime as I really do enjoy it. I enjoyed it so much that I'm already ready to watch the first season again. So, those are my thoughts on the Beastar anime series. I highly recommend it. If any of you did have an opportunity to check out this anime series, whether it was earlier or right now when it's on Netflix, I would love to get your thoughts on it, and you can tell me all of them in the comments section below. If you like the anime version, if you've read the manga, who are your favorite characters, who are your theories as to who the actual killer is, what do you want to see from the future of Beastars? Let's just have a big discussion all about it in the comments section below. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this, as well as our weekly podcast show, The Powerful Nerdcast. If you guys would like to go the extra mile in supporting this channel, I would really appreciate it if you guys would look in the description box below. You can check out my Patreon or my PayPal account. Thank you all again for watching. I'll see you all next time, and as always, stay dandy, baby.